Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. I am so hungry and I'm getting ready to go fix me something to eat. I've been super busy this morning. Oh. So, took the neighbor to the food pantry and as Blue Egg Project went in and donated 4 dozen eggs this week to that food pantry. And talking to the coordinator, she's giving me cards, she's checking all the information, make sure that, I'm trying to start this and, we don't have anything official yet, but, we're working on it. And a lady that I know who also is a volunteer at the food pantry positioned herself to where she could hear what the coordinator and I were speaking about. Let me tell you the background of this woman first. When I was in long-term care at one facility, I was the activity director. She was in the therapy group that works with Medicaid, Medicare, that does the therapy, blah, 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 blah. Okay. She would try to take some of my residents from their activities to do therapy. And I am very aware of how important therapy is. I'm also very aware that if you have an activity that a resident likes, let them do that, because we're trying to make their lives happy, right? Okay. So she came in one day and was trying to take one of my older ladies away from the table, and of course this lady had no filter. And she's going, help me. I don't want to go to therapy. I want to play bingo. So I went to the table and I calmed her down. I was like, it's okay. You don't have to go. And I looked up at the lady and I said, we need to talk. And so I had my assistant come in and call the rest of that little game. I went out to the hallway with her. I was like, listen, you can't do that. You cannot take them away from an activity. You're going to have to sit down with me and we'll figure out what your lists are, who you have, and then I'll tell you what activities you can't take them from. And so we locked horns a little bit, but you know what? I was always there for the residents, not for therapy. So I knew that was going on. So anyway, I just wanted to give you a little background of the woman and where we have butted heads before. So I don't know if I misread what she said, but let me continue. Let me get a drink here. Okay. So I'm talking to the coordinator about the Blue Egg Project and how I'm trying to get it going. We're going to try to get local producers of produce and meat or whatever, and we're going to try to help these food pantries that may or may not get federal help. This one does not get federal help, but they do a lot of big donating places. So I kind of wanted to know that. Okay, so you're not going to be hurt by the federal, but you do get money to buy the eggs, blah, 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 blah. So we're talking all of this stuff. And this woman says to me, well, don't you sell your eggs? I can't even, I can't keep up with the demand of selling my eggs. Now, mind you, I am in a food pantry donating 4 dozen eggs. She is a volunteer at the food pantry and she doesn't seem to she either didn't get it or she was wondering why I wouldn't just sell my eggs. I mean, what do you think? Was she a one-upper? Um, I don't know. But I thought it was really rude and it's stuck in my craw. It's stuck in my craw. I've got a chicken coming around the corner. It's one of my young girls. But anyway, um, I don't know. What do you think? I mean, she was very adamant about, well, I can't keep up with the demand of the selling of my eggs. And here I am donating eggs to the pantry where she is a volunteer. Now, was she being facetious? Was she just being an old woman? I don't know. But it bothered me. I was stunned. I was shocked. Maybe I shouldn't be, because I see a lot of people who claim to be so giving that really aren't. So, anyway, Moving right along. What do you think? Let's see here. I thought I had someone to come and get EB, early bird rooster. I was so excited, and they were supposed to call me back last night when the husband got home, and they never called back. So apparently, my husband knows who this guy is, and that might have screwed me out of getting EB a good home. Just saying. But, or he was like, I don't want to mess with a rooster tonight. But you would expect her to maybe call you back, let you know. So I was really hoping to have a home for EB. I do have another lady who is interested in 3 or 4 of my hens. So I know which ones I'm going to sell. It will be 2 or 3 of the black ones from the Cabana group, last year's spring hatches, plus Pumpkin, who was hatched with Cider, who turned a year old in October. There. Okay. Um. Now I want to talk about. Oh, and we're still waiting for our hatching eggs. How exciting! Indio giganta. Did you go look it up? Did you look at them? Pretty exciting, huh? Okay. So I'm getting ready to hatch these eggs, and so I want to make sure that I have every product that I need right there as we get ready to start. So I pulled out 2 old brooders that actually stayed out. They're just totes, 2 different size totes. I need to get my shoebox tote out too. So I'll start with 3 totes. Now, the reason I'm going to do 3 totes is because, number one, if people want chicks, I'll put the chicks that they're going to come and buy in the medium tote as after they hatch and I get them drinking and eating. So I've got my 3 totes ready to rock and roll. I need to get my puppy pads out, get some chips ready, and I do use puppy pads. But I will tell you this, that if you use puppy pads, do not go to work and leave them all day long on a puppy pad if you have a scratcher. When I was working, I had ordered chicks from Mount Healthy Hatchery. I mean, I ended up spending like over $100 on like 18 chicks. Okay. So these were gold chicks. The only chicken I have left from that group is Ruth. She is my olive egger. She's a big olive egger. But anyway, I had little Wesley. Now, if you don't know who Wesley was, he was actually a Welsumer rooster, and I ordered him to throw the speckle line into my chickens. So I had I don't know how many, like 2 or 3 Welsumer hens and Wes. So I knew that that group was going to throw out the speckled eggs. Well, not the rooster, but he was going to help produce more speckled eggs if I blended him with different hens. Okay. They were little. They might have been, I don't know, a week old, maybe a week old. And I noticed that he was really a scratchy, so I knew he was the rooster because he was just constantly scratching for them girls. I come home and he was pinned on the floor of the brooder, and he had the puppy pad fibers, like, just, he was, I had to cut him out of it. I come home, I panic. The neighbor comes over, he wants eggs or something, and I've got this little bird stuck to the bottom with his feet just entwined in all of this fiber. It deformed some of his feet later on because there were some things that, I don't know, it just really, it was bad. So I had to take every little fiber off. So if you use puppy pads, please be careful. If you have a big scratcher, he or she will probably get their feet entangled. I never had that happen before. I've never had it happen again. But little Wesley, that rooster, he was pinned to the ground with fibers. So be careful with that. Just saying. So I've got 3 little brooders. I've got the 3 sized brooders. Now I need to find all of the toppers for those, and they're just a rack, or I've got old screens and I use those for the tops in the bathroom. I need to get a heat lamp and a brand new bulb. I'm not going to use one of the older bulbs that I'm using in the guinea pig barn or anything like that. We're going to get a brand new bulb, so that way I know that that's going to be how many hours are on it. Okay. Um, what else? Dishes. This is the part with dishes that I like. When they're pretty small, I just use whatever. I really like using little dessert cups and things like that, um, instead of like the big waterers and feeders, because it gives them more room. And I always put their feed and water in the middle so they can run around the edge and they get plenty of exercise. You can go back and watch all my chicks from last year, last spring when I hatched. It was so much fun. But now let's talk about the feed that I'm going to be purchasing. Now, right before the chicks come, I will get 2 of the small bags. I don't know, they're 5 or 7 pound bags of a more organic, non medicated chick starter feed. I want to make certain that I get that. I get the tiny chick grit. So those 2 products, absolutely a must, right? Now, something that I have on hand at all times are Pedialyte, because with the first water, I like to mix a little Pedialyte with the water. That way I'm ensuring that it's constantly, whenever it gets a drink, it's getting a double drink or it's getting a hydrating drink. So I just buy Pedialyte. You'll see me coupon Pedialyte, and I use it for my animals or us or whoever, and I collect it all year long, and then that way I've got plenty. There's Ruth right there. I don't like them out here by the road. And Dottie, my big fat barred rock, I keep finding her across the road and it's really bothering me. But anyway, so make sure I have Pedialyte. I also make certain that about 2 or 3 days I'll get some kale. Kale is extremely easy to clip, extremely small. So I will start about 2 or 3 days. I'll start giving scrambled egg, and I also give kale. Um, Little itty bitty pieces of kale. When they're about 3 to 4, 5-ish weeks, it depends on the chicks and if I think they're progressing pretty well, I will make their own scratch feed, not with, your corn and your big Milo and all of that. I try to go for like a parakeet or a canary seed. It's the soft shelled millet, soft shells. And even if there are some hard shelled ones in there, that's fine. But at least they get to start off on a very small, fine thing. Now, you'll look in some of the parakeet mixes or some of the canary mixes, you'll find little pieces of fruits and vegetables. That's perfectly fine for them. Why would it not be? So you have these little colorful minerals and vitamins and all of this. It's not going to hurt your chickens. So that's how I start them on a scratch. As they get bigger, they can eat the Milo, the millet, and they figure out the other nuts. But I like to start them out with something really, really small. And I was questioned on another video about, isn't it expensive? Well, normally, in the late seasons, I go to Dollar General clearance where they have like the little bags of bird seeds, parakeets, canaries, whatever, and I'll grab a couple boxes of that. And that normally lasts because it's not like I'm pouring it in a bowl. I'm just sprinkling it. I want them to learn because my chickens have to be free ranged. I don't like them to be cooped up. I don't think it's good for them. I like to say, hey, my chickens, they eat whatever they can find, plus. So that's kind of how I start. I'm going to see. Now, I will say that when you see me with my chicks, I never ever dunk their heads into anything. I think that's very cruel. I want them to think of my hand as something soft, gentle, and giving. So the first drink of water they get is right here on the tip of my finger. The first bite of scrambled egg is on my finger. I want everything that's good to come off my hand. So later on, if you notice, if you watch my chickens when they're still in the brooder, I can put my hand underneath them and just like bounce them, and I bounce my chicks just to get them used to being just. My chickens are not afraid of a human hand. I don't like that at all. So, first drink of water is on my finger as well as their scrambled egg. Y'all have a great day. Hugs from a distance. I've got chick fever, and it's hard for me not to buy any chicks right now because I have 12 hatching eggs on the way and 22 in the incubator. Y'all have a great day. Hugs from a distance. I've got to go make something to eat. Maybe some eggs. Bye, y'all.